Okay, so let's talk about grace. On Sunday, we were continuing our series, Speaking Sunday, talking about these Christian words and trying to expand our imagination of them. But Yelena got grace, and grace is one of those words that we all know, we all use, we hear it all the time in church. But for my money, grace is a word that we just simply can't use enough. In fact, I would argue that grace is the center of the gospel. It's the heart of everything that it means to be invited into the way of Jesus. And of course, we know this, right? Grace is one of the 5 solas, grace alone. We are saved by God's grace, and of course this is true. It's only the grace of God that chases us down and picks us up and brings us back home. We are saved by nothing but divine grace that comes to find us. But I don't think that's the whole story. In fact, I think even that sells grace short. Because grace is more than just the way that we are saved. Grace is how we are changed. In classical Christian language, we would say we are saved by grace and we are sanctified by grace. You don't become a better person. You don't move in the way of Jesus. You don't become the person that God created you to be by trying harder. You become that through the grace of God. The grace of God that picks you up and tells you you are loved and brings you back to give you a seat at the table alongside God. See, the root of so much that is twisted inside of me, so much that is broken inside of me right now is about not knowing myself the way that God does. I think that I'm on my own. I don't believe that I'm worthy of divine love. And so, of course, I'm selfish. Of course, I'm standoffish. Of course, I tend towards exclusion or violence to ensure that I'm protected and that those around me are on my team. But when I know myself as loved the way that God loves me, and I accept the fact that I am welcomed completely as I am and offered a seat at the table of God, then all of a sudden, all of that greed, all of that selfishness, all of that violence, all of that desire to push others away and draw others close, all of that begins to fade away, and slowly I become conformed to the way of Jesus. It's grace that welcomes me into this story, but it's grace that transforms me and changes me and makes me ready for this story. And I've heard so much in my career that if I talk too much about grace and not enough about law, then no one will ever change. I'll just have a whole bunch of immature, weak Christians. But that's exactly the opposite of what I've experienced in 20 years of doing this job. The more that I see people know themselves as loved, the more that I see them allow that grace to sink somewhere deep into their bones, what I see is people who begin to change. People who let go of all the things that are twisted and broken inside of them that they thought they needed, and people who actually become more caring, more kind, more generous because grace and love has a way of changing us. So know this, you are completely loved exactly as you are today. And it's knowing that will help you become something different, something even more beautiful tomorrow. The grace of God is what saves you. The divine grace that surrounds you right now, as you learn it, as you know it, as you allow it to sink somewhere deep into you, this will be what changes you for tomorrow. So know that you're loved, extend that love wherever you can. As you walk the way of Jesus in this world, push the boundaries of grace back farther and farther and see yourself becoming everything God imagines you to be. Let go of everything that's broken, twisted, sinful, and hurting you right now. Become the person God imagines, full of grace and peace, following the way of Jesus in this world, allowing the grace of God to transform you this week. Hey, and by the way, we are coming up on the fall here at Commons. Things are going to be a little different than they have ever been for September for us, but we're still really excited about Season 7, if you can believe that. This church turns 6 in September, and we've got a whole raft of new ideas planned to help us learn together, grow together, gather together, whether that's here in person or online, but to continue this story together. So watch your mailbox, watch our social media channels, get ready for a new Season 7 beginning September 13th here at Commons.